everyone, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. I really hope you enjoyed my last video. Today I'm going to do one similar, so it's just a talking video, and I'm just going to tell you all about my experience on Roaccutane, which for those of you that don't know is an acne medication. I feel like this video might help a few people if you're on Roaccutane at the moment or if you're thinking of going on it. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the video, but please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It really supports me, and also if you could give this video a little thumbs up, that'd be fab. So I'm just going to jump straight into the video now. So for those of you that don't know what Roaccutane is, it is a medication for acne. It kind of is almost a last resort, so a lot of people choose not to go on Roaccutane because it does come with a long list of side effects. You normally won't get offered it unless you have tried a number of different medications, but I will go into all the side effects and stuff later on in the video. So I'm kind of going to talk about my skin and why I decided to go on Roaccutane. So I've always had spots for basically as long as I can remember. I would always get them on my chin and on my forehead. But it wasn't until I was about age 21 I noticed that I was getting more and more spots, and a lot of them were then going onto my cheek area. I found that it was a lot harder to cover the spots on my cheeks because they were bigger and they were actually quite sore and painful, and it just kind of always annoyed me that I was always like the one that had spots. So all my friends have really clear skin, and it seemed to just be me that had all these spots on my face, and it was annoying because I was 21. So I decided to go to the doctor and see if maybe it was the pill that I was on or what was causing me these spots. So I went to see my doctor and I was prescribed, I think it's called erythromycin. It's tablets that you take. So I had to take, I think it's 3 a day, but I'm not actually sure, it could be 2. So I was put on erythromycin for 3 months. So I tried that. I was on erythromycin for the 3 months to see if it would make a difference, and it did not make any difference. It didn't change my skin in the slightest. I then went back after the 3 months and was put on a different pill. Again, it made no difference at all. Each time I went, I just felt like I was given different medications, different creams to put on my face, and nothing was working. My skin was the same, and sometimes it was actually even getting worse. I went back to the doctor and I'd asked if I could be referred to a dermatologist because my skin was just so bad. I couldn't get rid of the spots, and it was just making I had like no self-confidence. I would never ever go out without makeup on. I would always have a full face of makeup on, even to go to Tesco, which is so much effort, but I just didn't want anyone to see my skin. So I decided that I would have to go back to the doctor and try and get something else that was going to help. So I went to see the doctor in 2018, probably in about January, I would say, and she referred me to the dermatologist. So the dermatologist you will wait ages to see. I didn't get my appointment until April, and that was in January that I got referred. So in April I went to see the dermatologist and I discussed everything with her. And I basically just told her my concerns, what was wrong with my skin. She had a look at my skin and she did confirm that I did have acne because I had a lot of active pimples on my face. So she first had put me on, it was a cream, it was called Epiduo, and she told me to try that for 3 months, and then I could go back to her after the 3 months and we would do like a review. So when I was leaving, I had said, oh, obviously I've heard about Roaccutane, is that something that I would be able to go on? And she did say that if I wanted to go on Roaccutane, I would have to get my blood taken to make sure that your liver and your kidneys are functioning correctly first before they can put you on to that medication. So I'm terrified of needles, like petrified of needles, and I had never in my life had my blood taken. It's one of my worst fears, is getting my blood taken and being put on a drip. Like, no, that is my worst fear. So when I was leaving the dermatologist appointment, she had given me my cream and she said to me, if you go and speak to one of the nurses, we can take your blood today, and then obviously if after the 3 months if your skin doesn't clear up, we've already got your blood sample, so we'll know if you're suitable for Roaccutane or not. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fine, like I'll go and get my blood taken, and I was literally terrified. So I took this little slip outside, and because I was thinking about it so much, so because I had to go up and speak to the nurse and ask if I could get my blood taken, I was like, I can't do this, like I can't get it taken. So I decided to just run past the nurse's station, and literally I ran out the hospital. I sprinted out the hospital because I was like, I can't get this blood taken, like I'm going to have to just go with this cream and that's it, I can't get the blood taken. So that was that. I left the hospital, I didn't get it taken. I was a bit annoyed at myself when I got into the car, but I was like, I couldn't have done that, I was terrified. So I got home and then started using the cream. And basically, a long story short, after a couple of weeks, my skin was just the exact same. It wasn't changing. I was using this cream at morning and night, and my skin looked the exact same. So I decided that I would phone the dermatologist and just speak to her and see if there was any chance that I could just go on Roaccutane, because at this point I felt like I had tried everything on my skin. I'd already tried all these creams previously when I'd been given them by my doctor, so I just didn't see the point in having months of putting creams on my face, using these stupid tablets that didn't work. So I phoned the dermatologist, and I obviously had to tell her that I didn't get my blood taken and that I actually ran away from the nurses. So she had asked me if I could pop in after my work one day and get my blood taken, which I done, and it wasn't even sore at all. It was literally fine. I was so surprised. So I went in, got my blood taken, and then 2 weeks later she phoned me back and said that I was suitable to go on Roaccutane. And she emailed me all of the side effects, which there is so many side effects. I will discuss them with you, but there is loads of side effects. So after that, I decided that I would just go ahead and I would try Roaccutane and just see. I had already done all my research and I knew that I just wanted these spots off my face. So I went and picked the tablets up and I just started taking them. So to begin with, in April 2018, I was put on a dose of 20 milligrams per day. So it goes by your weight. I'm not quite sure exactly how they do it, but you basically get weighed and then they give you a dose that's suitable for your weight, and then they up it each time you go back. So you only get a prescription for 4 weeks, and you have to go back every 4 weeks to get your next prescription. So I was on 20 milligrams each day for a month, and then I went back, and then from the second month until my final month, so I was on it for 6 months, I was on 60 milligrams a day, which is quite a lot, but I'll talk more about that as well. So yeah, I started taking it, and I would say it is the best thing I've done for my skin, because it did completely clear it up. But obviously you do really need to bear in mind all the side effects and just how it makes you feel in general. See, when you're on it, it doesn't make you feel that great. So yeah, basically I started taking it in April 2018 and I finished my course in September 2018. So yeah, that's like a bit of background on my skin and how I ended up going on Roaccutane. I was very, very lucky with my dermatologist. My skin wasn't really bad. To me it was bad, but people do have acne a lot worse than what I had, and a lot of people have cystic acne, which I never had. And a lot of people can't get put on Roaccutane because it's really difficult to get your dermatologist to prescribe it to you. So I just feel like I was really lucky that I just kind of got put on it straight away. I didn't really have to keep asking for it. So yeah, I was actually quite lucky in that sense. But that's the kind of background to my skin anyway. Next I will talk about the side effects of taking Roaccutane. So basically you'll be given a list of side effects. I think it's about 3 pages long, and there is so many side effects. I was actually terrified to go on it when I looked at these side effects. So the ones that I experienced the most were I had extremely dry skin, like the driest skin ever. Your lips will crack, and at some points my lips would bleed. So in the corners of my lips, because they were so dry, sometimes I would actually find that they would like crack and they would start bleeding, and it was so painful. Same with your body, like I put fake tan on all the time, and my skin was so dry. It was like sandpaper. So when I was trying to rub the fake tan in, it was just like peeling off bits of my skin. It's actually disgusting. But anyway, that is the main side effect, is really, really, really dry skin. So Roaccutane basically removes the oil. So the reason that a lot of people get spots, the reason I got spots, was because my body produces too much oil. So by being on Roaccutane, it basically reduces the amount of oil that your body produces. So when you properly think about it, you are getting rid of a lot of oil that's in your body, so your skin's not as oily, your hair is not as oily, which is a plus. You don't really need to wash your hair that much. But yeah, that's why you end up getting so dry, because you're removing a lot of the oil that's already in your body. So yeah, the side effects that I had were really, really, really dry skin, like the driest skin ever. What else did I have? A sore body, so you'll get aches and pains constantly. Like sometimes when I was trying to get out of my bed in the morning, my back was so sore. And again, it's because your body's not producing oil, so you eventually start to get really, really sore muscles. So that was the two main side effects that I had. What was another one? You can get told that it can make you depressed. So it can cause mood swings, it can cause you to feel really depressed and upset all the time. I didn't personally really find there was much of a difference in my moods. I think it's hard because it just depends. Like, I did start to get quite depressed at the beginning because there is a purge, so your skin has a purging phase when you're on Roaccutane. So when you've been on it for 4 weeks, basically all the bad stuff that's in your skin comes to the surface. So I ended up with way more spots than what I started with, and I think I did start to get a bit depressed. So I kind of was looking at myself in the mirror and was like, I'm taking all this medication and it's making me look worse. Like, my skin was a mess. I started to get little spots on my neck, which I've never had in my life. I've never had spots like on my neck or my back or anything. But yeah, that was in the first 4 weeks. I ended up getting really, really bad purge in my skin, and it was so spotty and sore, and that obviously makes you feel a wee bit depressed, because you just think, well, why am I taking this medication and it's making me look and feel worse? But you really do, if you're on it or if you're thinking of going on it, you should persevere with that, because it does get better. It does take a few months to notice a difference in your skin. But yeah, so the side effects that I had were extremely dry skin and a lot of aches and pains. I also felt a lot more tired, so I would nap all the time. I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know, again, if that's because it removes the oil from your body, but I was so tired all the time. I was constantly napping, I was sleeping in really late, and I would go to bed really early as well, so I was more tired. What else did I have? I don't really think I got the mood swings. Like I said, I did feel a bit depressed at the beginning when I noticed my skin was purging, and then there was a couple of times that I would get more upset. So I mind the most ridiculous thing I done was I started crying because I burnt my toast. So I don't know if that was just me being pathetic or if it's because I was on Roaccutane. It can kind of mess up your emotions, and I feel like things that you get upset about, you get really upset about when you're on Roaccutane. But yeah, that's really the only side effects that I had. The list is endless of the side effects you can get. So a lot of people have been suicidal on it. A lot of people haven't been able to get out of bed in the morning because they're in so much pain. The main side effect, I would say, is the dry skin. Like, there is no way that you can go on it and not get dry skin. You will get dry skin. Whereas everything else, I think it just kind of depends. Like, you're not going to get all of the side effects. But yeah, I think a lot of people are scared to go on it because of the suicidal side effect. But, like, I didn't feel suicidal at all. I'm not really sure. To begin with, like, when I started, I was worried to go on it for that reason. I was like, oh my god, I don't want to, like, feel totally depressed and want to die when I'm on this. But I'm so glad that I just decided to go with it, and the side effects weren't even that bad. I was actually quite shocked at the side effects. But yeah, make sure you really research them and look through the list of side effects that you're given by the dermatologist before you decide what you want to do. But I personally didn't find the side effects were that bad. I found everything was actually quite fine, to be honest. So yeah. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is restrictions whilst you're on Roaccutane. So you might not actually think this, but there is a couple of things that you cannot get done when you're on Roaccutane and you can't do when you're on Roaccutane. So the first thing is you can't go in the sun. That's so depressing, but don't go in the sun, don't go in any sunbeds, and you do need to wear sun cream on your face every day. So I wore factor 50 on my face every single day, like even in Scotland when I was on it, because it just makes your skin so sensitive to sunlight. So I went on Roaccutane the absolute worst time ever because I was on it for the full of summer. I started it in April, I finished it in September, so I really did pick a terrible time to go on medication where you can't go in the sun. That's when you go on holiday. But I went on 2 holidays when I was on Roaccutane, and to be honest, as much as I still had a good time, I would say it's not actually worth it, because I tried to sit in the sun one day when I was in Benidorm and I got absolutely fried. So I got so burnt that my skin was blistering and peeling off, and it was literally agony, like so sore. And my skin naturally tans really well in the sun, but no, when I was on Roaccutane it completely changed my skin. I just got so burnt, and ever since that time I just stuck with fake tan, and it wasn't worth it for me trying to go in the sunbeds. I know a lot of people that have been on Roaccutane and they've used the sunbeds the full way through their treatment, but I just found that I would rather not damage my skin by blistering and getting absolutely fried. So, and also being in pain, it was agony. So I just stayed away from sunbeds and the sun altogether. And again, like I said, make sure that you put factor 50 on your face every single day, even if you live in quite a cold country, because your skin will be that sensitive to sunlight. The next thing you can't get done is certain beauty treatment. So one thing you need to completely avoid is waxing. Again, I know a lot of people that have been on Roaccutane and they've still got their eyebrows waxed and their legs waxed throughout their treatment, but I would personally just avoid it. A lot of the time, if you get waxed when you're on Roaccutane, it basically removes the top layer of your skin, so it burns your skin because your skin's so sensitive. If you get your eyebrows waxed, it basically takes the top layer of your skin off and you're left with those big burn marks underneath your brows, which that's not a good look. So I just didn't bother getting anything waxed at all whilst I was on it. The next thing you cannot get is any sort of fillers or like any facial Botox or anything like that. So again, I'm not really sure why, but I think it is because your skin is just so sensitive, so you can't get anything injected at all. So you can't get any lip filler. That's quite a sad thing. But yeah, I wasn't really that bothered about it. I just stayed away from all fillers whilst I was on Roaccutane and just waited till I finished my treatment. Another thing that you're not meant to get done, but I just like have no idea why. So you're not meant to get your nails done, but like, why? I don't know why. But anyway, I got my nails done the full way through my treatment. So the full 6 months I had my acrylic nails on, and I also got semi-permanent lashes put on. I found that there was no difference in my nails or my lashes. It didn't affect anything. So like really being on Roaccutane didn't affect the way my nails stuck on. It didn't affect my eyelashes or how long I got out of them. So yeah, I just kept getting them done because I hate not having nails on, and I actually don't like having no lashes on either. So I just was like, nope, I'm going to keep getting those done, which I did, and everything was fine. The next thing when you're on Roaccutane is you'll be so sensitive to light. So even your eyes, when I was driving and stuff through the day, my eyes would be like burning if there was like light shining in my eyes. Again, I don't really know why. I think it's just because it makes your full body sensitive to any sort of light. So for me, if I was driving and there was sunlight, my eyes would be so sore. I used to like cut about with sunglasses on all the time just to protect my eyes. So yeah, you basically become sensitive to every single thing that you enjoy in life, but it doesn't matter because it is worth it to see your skin in the end. So yeah, that's the restrictions when you're on it. There isn't really, I kind of just like done everything else as normal. You can eat whatever you want, you don't really need to change your diet or anything. I would say that you do need to drink more water just because you're losing a lot of oil, so I drank a lot more water than normal when I was on it, but I didn't change my diet or anything like that when I was on my treatment. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is just basically how long it takes you to notice a difference whilst using Roaccutane. So like I said earlier, in the first month your skin will probably purge. So basically your skin is just, well, the medication is getting rid of all the badness in your skin, so it basically brings everything out and everything to the surface, and you will, for the first probably 4 weeks, have more spots than what you started with, which is quite depressing, but try to just like look past that, and you do need to realise that it is going to get better. It's just the first month is probably the hardest, I would say. So I personally noticed a difference after 3 months of being on Roaccutane. So I went from being on 20 milligrams each day, and then it was up to 60 milligram. On the 3rd month of being on Roaccutane, I did start to notice that my spots were basically gone. So I hadn't had any new spots in about 3 weeks, and my skin actually looked quite smooth and felt quite smooth to touch. I didn't have any spots that had any heads or anything, and overall like my skin just looked a lot better. So that was on month 3. When I went back for my 4-month checkup, I was asked if I wanted to continue with it or if I would like to just kind of stop it there, but I decided that I did want to do the full 6 months, because a lot of people, when you're on Roaccutane, you will need to go back on it. It's not, I used to think you just went on this treatment once and then that's it, like you don't need to go on it ever again, but I have found out that a lot of people do have to go on Roaccutane twice, sometimes 3 times, to fully get rid of acne, like for good. So I decided that I would just do the full 6 months to try and avoid having to go back on the treatment in the future. So my dermatologist decided that we would just stick to the 60 milligrams per day because my body was responding well to that amount, and my skin was obviously getting a lot better. So yeah, I would probably say after about 3 months my skin looked a lot better. It was so much clearer, and I was starting to be like buzzing when I looked at my skin. I was so happy that like I didn't feel self-conscious, and I didn't have to, every time I was doing my makeup, I didn't have to try and cover all this acne on my face. So it was amazing to just not have to do any of that. So after I was on it for 6 months, my skin was amazing. Like it was so nice. It was the smoothest skin ever, like literally the smoothest skin. It looked amazing all the time actually. So I would never ever wear makeup. I fully stopped wearing makeup through the day. I would only ever wear it if I was going out. And even when I put makeup on when I was going out, it looked so much nicer because I just didn't have any spots. It was just so good to finally have clear skin. Like it was the best thing ever to have clear skin. So I would say that Roaccutane is definitely worth it if you just are really struggling with your skin. Obviously you do need to research it and make sure that it is the correct medication for you. Before you obviously decide to start the treatment. But for me personally, I found it was absolutely amazing. I do recommend it if you're basically, you're at your wit's end with your skin, which I was, and nothing else was working. Roaccutane is one of the best medications for acne, and a lot of people do get rid of acne like forever when they use it. So I would say that I'm so happy I'd done it. I'm so happy that I decided to go with the full 6 months and finish my treatment. And yeah, I just think if nothing else is working, then it is good just to speak to your dermatologist and get some further information on it. So one of the other things that you have to do every single month when you're on Roaccutane is when you go for your checkup with your dermatologist, they will do a pregnancy test with you. So they'll give you a pregnancy test to make sure that you're not pregnant, and you have to get your blood taken every 8 weeks. So you go back each month, and then it's every second month you get your blood taken again, just to make sure that again your liver and everything is all fine and is responding well to the treatment, and then you can continue on to your next dose. So the pregnancy test is, you do need to get that done, so you have to go every 4 weeks and get the pregnancy test done. If you are trying for a baby or you are pregnant, you absolutely cannot go on Roaccutane. Like, it is, you can't go on Roaccutane if you're trying to get pregnant. When I went to see the dermatologist, the first thing she asked me before putting me on Roaccutane is if I was trying for a family. Obviously I wasn't, I'm still not, so I was like, no I'm not, so I can go ahead with it. And you do need to sign forms and stuff to say that you're fully aware that if you fall pregnant on Roaccutane, there can be a lot of birth defects. So when your baby's born, there can be a lot of kind of bad side effects if you've been on Roaccutane. So your child will probably have like birth defects if you've been on Roaccutane. So you really need to be careful when you're on it, that you're obviously not going to get pregnant and that you're not trying to have a family or anything. But yeah, you go every single month and get a pregnancy test done just to make sure that you're not pregnant, and then as soon as they've checked that you're not pregnant, they'll give you your next dose of Roaccutane to take home. So that's why you have to go every single month to get a checkup and to pick up your prescription. Your blood's only taken every 8 weeks to make sure that your liver's functioning okay. So a lot of people, when you're on Roaccutane, it can damage your liver. Well, I don't actually know if it's damaged mine, I don't think so, because every time I went and got my blood taken, everything was totally fine. But they do say that you should try and not drink alcohol when you're on Roaccutane because of the liver problems that it can cause. Now, I would love to say that I followed this rule, however, I went out all the time when I was on it. I did try for the first month to not drink, but I had festivals to go to. I went to Ibiza, and the only thing I would say I noticed is my hangover was a lot worse than what it would have been if I wasn't on Roaccutane. So I didn't notice any different, I'm not really sure, I didn't really notice anything changing when I was drinking alcohol. I just felt that my hangover was so much worse. It lasted 4 days instead of just 2. So that's really the only side effect that I got from drinking alcohol. But I did drink alcohol pretty much throughout my full treatment. I would love to say I never, but I did. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is when you stop taking Roaccutane. So when you're on Roaccutane, you are advised just to follow quite a simple skincare routine. I just used a cleanser, I think it was Simple Cleanser, and I just used moisturiser. Any moisturiser is completely fine, and you'll also need a moisturiser for your body and stuff. So I was using all that skincare the full way through my treatment. When I finished Roaccutane, you're advised to kind of stick to the same skincare because it takes your skin a while to get back to the way it was before. So my skin is naturally really oily, but I found for about 6 months after I finished the treatment, my skin was still extremely dry, and it took about 6 months for me to get all the oil back into my body. So my hair was still dry, my hair wasn't greasy or anything for about 6 months after I came off Roaccutane. So it does take a while for it to get fully out your system. So for a full 6 months after Roaccutane, you still can't do any of the restrictions. So you can't go in the sun, you can't go in the sunbed, you can't get your lips done, nothing. So yeah, basically it's like a year of not doing any of that stuff, which is shit. But when you've got nice clear skin, it doesn't actually really matter. So when I came off Roaccutane, you just stop taking them and just try and keep up the skincare routine. So that's what I done. I just kept washing my face with the same cleanser and moisturising my skin. And you just want to keep your skincare really simple. You don't want to load loads and loads of different products onto your face, especially when you've just cleared all your skin. So when I finished my treatment, my skin was the best it had ever looked. like ever. I was so happy with it, and I was so happy that I had stuck with a full treatment and that I had finally had clear skin. So it was amazing for me to not wear makeup. I could go to Tesco, I wouldn't wear makeup. I would go to work and wouldn't wear makeup. And a lot of people would compliment me, like in work especially, if I was doing like a client's makeup, a lot of my clients would compliment my skin and would say how amazing my skin was. And I was like, what? Like, how is this happening? So I was so buzzing with the way my skin was looking and with all the compliments I was getting about how nice my skin was. So it was amazing for me when I finished the treatment to completely notice a difference in my skin. What I will say is, don't expect to never get a spot again in your life. So when I finished Roaccutane, my skin was clear for a full year. I didn't get any spots at all. Like, I didn't even really get like one. I just would never ever get spots. But then about a year after I finished it, so probably in September last year, September 2019, I started getting spots again on my cheeks and some on my forehead and on my chin. Mostly I would only get them when I was due my time of the month, but sometimes I would just get like a little random spot. And I actually remember when I woke up one day and had 2 spots, I think it was like 2 spots on my chin, and I was like, what the hell? Like, I was actually so confused because I was like, surely I haven't went through all that treatment and all those, like the side effects and all the restrictions to then wake up with spots on my face. Like, I was fuming. So I thought it hadn't worked, and I phoned the dermatologist and I was raging. I was like, I've just finished Roaccutane, my skin has been clear for a full year, and now I'm just starting to get all these little stupid spots all over my face. And I was crying because I just thought, I'm going to have to go on this again. Like, I'm going to have to do all that again. I don't want to go on it again. So when I phoned the dermatologist, she basically told me that it is completely normal for you to get spots back. It doesn't fully get rid of your spots. When you're due your time of the month and stuff, you will still get spots. It's just basically that you won't get them as bad as what you did before, which is true. I haven't ever had them as bad as what they were like before I started my treatment. But yeah, I was just so confused because I was like, why am I getting these spots? Like, I just didn't, I was like, what the fuck? But anyway, I then decided that I didn't want to go on another treatment. So she did say that if I wanted to go back and discuss going on Roaccutane again, then you can do that. But I decided, like, no, it isn't actually worth it for me for a couple of spots. Like, I would rather just try and clear them with like cleansers and toners and stuff instead of going on the course again for another 6 months. I just didn't want to go on it again. So that takes me on to the last part of this video, which is basically just how I feel about Roaccutane. So I personally feel like it completely changed my skin. I don't think my skin would look how it looks today if I hadn't went on Roaccutane. So I am so glad that I decided to just go for it. If you are considering going on Roaccutane, I would definitely do your research, make sure that it is going to be suitable for you, and make sure that you're going to be able to handle the side effects if you do get any. Try not to read too much into the side effects, so don't sit with that list and think that you're going to get every single thing on it, because you definitely won't. Most people do just get a couple of the side effects, which is definitely what I got. I didn't find the side effects were that bad, but you should, if you're going to go on it, you should be cautious when you're on it. Bear in mind all the restrictions that I've mentioned. If you feel like you're not going to be able to not go in the sun, then it probably isn't the best treatment for you, because you really cannot go in the sun. It's so bad, but you really can't. So yeah, I just feel like I'm so glad that I went on it. It completely changed my skin. It's made me a much more confident person. Now I don't really care about my skin that much, so if I get a couple of spots now and again, it's not the end of the world for me now, because they're definitely not as bad as what they used to be. Normally now when I get spots, I can completely cover them up, which is something that I couldn't really do before. So yeah, I would just say that I'm so glad that I decided to go on Roaccutane. It's one of the only things that worked for me. I tried so many different medications from the doctor and none of them worked. So I would say if you're in the same position that I was in, and basically everything you're putting on your skin just is not working, or it's making your skin worse, then I would definitely speak to your dermatologist or your doctor about the possibility of going on Roaccutane, because it is such an amazing medication for acne. So yeah, one of the main things when you finish your course of Roaccutane is just to not think that you're never ever going to get spots ever again. I was actually quite stupid and quite naive and literally thought that I would never ever get another spot again in my full life, which obviously isn't going to happen. You're obviously going to get spots. Everybody does get spots, everyone gets them, so you do need to try and not think like that. But I would say that even when I get spots now, they're not as bad as what they used to be, so I am very grateful that I went on it. And now my skin, I'll kind of show you. So I do still get spots at the moment. I have got quite a lot, so I've just finished my time of the month and that's when my skin just hates me. But yeah, this is what my skin looks like at the moment. So you can see I do still have quite a lot of spots on my chin at the moment. And another thing that I do have is acne scars, which are so annoying. But yeah, that's why you shouldn't pick your spots. Now when I get a spot, I do try not to pick it. But when my skin was really, really bad, I just would do anything to get the spot off my face. So I would be picking them off. Don't do that, because then you end up with acne scars, which are not cute. But yeah, I do have kind of scarring on my cheeks, but I would much rather have the scars than the spots. So I think I've covered all the information. If I have left anything out, or if you're someone who's struggling with your skin at the moment and you're thinking of going on Roaccutane, or if you're on Roaccutane at the moment and you have any questions, then please just comment below and I will answer them all. I would love to help. Also, if you've been on Roaccutane and you want to tell me your experience, then please leave a comment below and I'd love to chat with you about it. But yeah, I would say I definitely recommend Roaccutane. It completely changed my skin. I'm so happy that I decided to go on it. But this isn't a video of me just telling you to go on Roaccutane. You do really need to make sure that it's the correct medication for you and that it is something that you'd be able to handle and that your body would be able to handle. So definitely speak to your dermatologist about that. But yeah, if you've got any questions, then please let me know. I probably missed so much out because I didn't write any of this stuff down. I've just tried to remember this all from memory, which I think I've remembered everything. But if I've missed anything out, then please just let me know and I'll answer you. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. The next video that I do, I will try and do some sort of makeup, so I'm not just sitting here chatting to you all. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, then please leave me a little thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.